Planet X, a third-party group that has been notoriously known for doing a lot of figures based off of High Moon Studios' Transformers Fall of Cybertron and War for Cybertron. It's kind of funny, we were talking about this amazing game not too long ago.
Yeah.
So Planet X, that in the past they did the Dinobots from Fall of Cybertron. They did uh, certain other characters to kind of have companion pieces to match this video game series, since the Generations line kind of stopped doing Transformer video game based characters. So they kind of went quiet for a bit. They did their Omega Supreme, which I think was the last big thing that they really did in relation to the video game series. And now on their Facebook, they've revealed some new stuff that they're working for.
They're working on.
Working on. And it's Planet X, Morpheus, Phobetor, and Phantasus. It's a trio of War for Cybertron or Fall of Cybertron based Insecticons, specifically Sharpshot, Hardshell, and Kickback. Those names, by the way, are the names that were used in the video game because obviously at the time Hasbro didn't have the rights to Shrapnel and Bombshell, which is
Mm.
what Shrapnel is what Sharpshot was called, and Bombshell was called Hardshell back then. What's interesting about these figures also is that we did get a Generations Fall of Cybertron kickback figure. It was the only Insecticon that actually got a figure. We got a deluxe of that, and it was a pretty good figure too. Their third party interpretation is pretty much just an upscaled. It looks kind of like almost the same figure, to be honest.
Oh,
I
okay.
I don't know the scale for these, but I mean, looking at their prototype, if you would have like showed this to me and said, "Oh, this is just the prototype of the Generations one," I'd believe you because it looks more or less the same thing. Probably just maybe there's a joint or two I'm missing somewhere, but otherwise it looks exactly the same. Um, but it's cool that we're getting the other two members also, assuming that uh, the scale of these, they're probably going to be maybe more of a in between Voyager and deluxe scale. So
Right.
you might have to get their kickback in order for this trio to be in scale with each other.
Hmm.
But it looks really cool. And in my personal Transformer display, I actually isolate all the video game characters because I really liked Fall of Cybertron and War for Cybertron. So I put all those figures together, um, hoping that one day we might get more.
Hmm.
Maybe one day,
Yeah.
I don't know, hoping. Because, again, I really loved that video game a lot.
But I can kind of
And,
see. I can kind of see now why Hasbro isn't kind of going back to that well because their timed exclusive is done, so there's no point
oh, yeah, well, especially like their whole license with High Moon is done and everything. And
with
all
Activision
those
and all that.
games, you can't even get them. You can't even get them digitally on the PlayStation Store, and all the DLC has been pulled. The only way you could truly enjoy the game now is buying a physical copy, and the servers are still going, but unfortunately, you can't get any of the new DLC on those servers. So it kind
Yeah.
of, but you can still play online. I know people are still playing to this very day. So it's still pretty cool. Although you can't customize your character as much because the DLC is absent. So if you
Right.
wanted to get Wheeljack's head, you're plump out of luck,
Mm.
unfortunately. But either way, these things are really cool. I really, really like the bombshell. It looks really nice. These are just gray protos for now. So I always say gray prototypes and resin prototypes always look amazing because it shows more detail. Where I mean, they're a really good example of that was if I have to find images online, but if you Google like prototype Armada Overload,
Mm.
his when his prototype came out, everyone was so excited because of how nice it looked in the gray prototype, and then when they painted it like the red and like browns and blues that it ended up looking like in the
Hmm.
end, all of those details got washed out. And
Ah.
so it's the same thing here. It looks really good, but I wonder how it's going to look when it's going to be now covered in black, gray, some blues, and purple. Like the traditional like Insecticon colors with yellow highlights.
Hmm.
So I'm really wondering like how nice these will look afterwards. But I mean, I'm excited about these. Again, this is stuff that I don't see Hasbro ever doing in the future.
Right. Right.
So it's something that is a
Yeah, they can.
welcome addition from a third party kind of standpoint.
Hmm.
So I mean,
I
I really,
definitely agree with you with the little details. You know, the little ridges, the little the arm teeth, like you know the little like the gauntlet on the side
yeah,
of the
the
arms.
gauntlet ridges, yeah,
Yeah, gauntlet ridges. I'm really digging those, and then like the little I guess it's like little thrusters on the thorax there
yeah,
that make up the
yeah.
side of the legs and stuff like that.
Everything each one of them have like individual like boot designs.
Yeah,
Like the cool thing about the Insecticons were that uniformly they looked very nice because they had a similar color scheme, but they all individually had their own kind of character.
their own little silhouette that really kind
Yeah.
of showed off how they were. You know.
Oh yeah, totally. Well, especially like when you're talking someone like Shrapnel, it's all about his little like his little horns on the side. When you're talking Bombshell, it's always his little cannon in the back of his head,
Hmm.
or in this case, it's a separate piece, and the two little grasshopper antennas that are always iconic with kickback. So
Yeah.
it's really cool. These look really good. The alt modes look really good. Definitely check these out. And I mean, Planet X. I've messed with their Dinobots in the past, and it's really high quality stuff.
Yeah. Very
And
good
I mean,
stuff.
again, those things came out like God. It feels like 5 years ago.
Some
But
time ago.
and
I
those
think it
ones,
was around
those.
maybe Chicago BotCon.
Oh yeah, it was a while
Oh no
back.
no
I
no
think
no!
even
Sorry, not. Yeah, that was Chicago
it,
BotCon.
it might be Chicago BotCon, maybe even a little bit before that.
Before that, it was like a little bit before that. But I remember we got to mess around with the swoop.
Oh yeah, and the thing is with those is up until this point, like the only way you could get your Fall of Cybertron Dinobots short of Grimlock was through them. So
Yeah.
this is going to probably be the same thing. So definitely check out these Planet X. It's on their Facebook page right now. You could check out more high res photos if you're not satisfied with the ones we're going to post here. But yeah, looks really good. There's no release date currently planned. We just know
Nothing I
that
saw.
they're on their way.